Well, good morning. It's good to be back with you as we are back with Rooted. Took a little bit of time off during the Christmas season. It was good to kind of have a chance to kind of, I love doing Rooted, but it's a routine that I have to kind of make time for every day. And I thought I'd give myself a little break whenever everyone was away during the Christmas season. So we walked together in Advent with our Advent devotional guide that our church was using. But now that we're done with Advent, we're going to return back to Luke. It's been a minute, probably since the end of November that we have been in Luke together. So we're going to pick up with Luke chapter 19. We're going to read 19 chapter verse 41 through 48 to the end of the chapter. So let's read Luke 19, 41 through 48. And this is just some context if you don't remember, this is after Palm Sunday. Or it's all on Palm Sunday technically, but it's right after Palm Sunday. Time frames get a little confusing, but this is right after the triumphal entry. Um, as he came near and saw the city, he wept over it, saying, if you, even you, had only recognized on this day the things that were made for peace, but now they are hidden from your eyes. Indeed, the days will come upon you, and your enemies will set up ramparts all around you, and hem you in on every side. They will crush you to the ground, you and your children within you, and they will not leave within you one stone upon another, because you did not recognize the time of your visitation from God. Then he entered the temple and began to drive out those who were selling things there. And he said, it is written, my house shall be a house of prayer, but you have made it into a den of robbers. Every day he was teaching in the temple. The chief priests, the scribes, and the leaders of the people kept looking for a way to kill him, but they did not find anything they could do, for all the people were spellbound by what they heard. So we see two things here in Luke's gospel. We see first his weeping over Jerusalem, and Luke gives some insight here. He uh he says, the days will come upon this is verse 43. The days will come upon you when your enemies will set up ramparts around you and summon you, and hem you in on every side. They will crush you to the ground, you and your children within you, and they will not leave within you one stone upon another. Jesus is prophesying the destruction of Jerusalem from Rome. And this is what happened. Rome in AD 70 um, destroyed the temple. One of the more pivotal moments in Jewish history, one of the more pivotal moments in world history and religious history. Rome uh, attacked Jerusalem, attacked Judea, and the Jewish diaspora began at that point when many Jews left the Holy Land and dispersed all over the world. Up until probably the last couple hundred years, there were more Jews Tehran and Baghdad had huge Jewish populations because when Rome destroyed the temple, destroyed Jerusalem, so many Jews left and went all over Europe, went all over the Middle East, and it's only been recently that you've seen a decline in the Jewish population in places like Baghdad and Tehran for thousands of years were home to huge Jewish populations. So Jesus is prophesying what will happen is that Rome will destroy them. And it says here, if you had only recognized on this day that the things were made, the things that made for peace. Um, and that's why Jesus weeps because they did not see they did not see what it could be or could see that peace was possible. Um, they were so caught up in their traditions, so caught up in things that weren't important, so caught up in things that didn't matter, is that they missed a chance for peace. They missed the chance to see and understand peace. And I wonder if we're like that. I wonder if we get so caught up in the mundane day-to-day things of our life, in the patterns of our life, in all that goes into the day-to-day living of life, that we miss opportunities for peace. Do you take time each day as you live your life? When you come to options, do you choose the more peaceful option? Do we choose the more peaceful option? Do we choose to de-escalate situations or escalate them? Do we choose to make a way for there to be peace in our lives or peace in the lives of others? Um, do we seek the healthier, better, peaceful choice when given choices? Jesus says here, you missed the chance for peace. Then, verse 45, we see the cleansing of the temple where Jesus drives out the money changers and drives out those that were selling things. Just a reminder, um, what was happening here is that these individuals were everything in the religious setup of the temple was predicated upon um, making money. The money changers made a cut off of the exchange of Roman money for shekels for temple money, and the people selling the animals for sacrifice here. This is what the animals were. They were being sold for sacrifice. Usually, were not to the quality that the Levitical system had them commanded to be. So instead of enabling people to come worship, people to come find a place of worship and solace, individuals had placed hierarchies and obstacles and challenges upon others. It's like Jesus says to the seven woes, the Pharisees, you have placed a burden upon others' backs that you would not carry yourself. They have made it difficult for people to come to the house of God. And I think that's a challenge for us. I think for us as me as a preacher, us as Christians, how high of a barrier of entry do we have for people to come to worship? How hard do we make it for people to come to worship? Do we make it easier? If you are not in the habit of coming to church, coming to worship, then taking that step can be difficult. It can be hard to take a step into worship when you've not done it in a while. If you don't know anyone, if you don't have anyone that welcomes you, um, if you are somebody that has had what we call church hurt, um, taking that step into worship can be challenging. And the individuals here had placed a barrier that made it a hurdle that was too high for some to jump over. And I just think it's a question we need to ask ourselves is how high of a barrier of entry are we making it? Are we making church for people? If you're a layperson in church, do you welcome new people when you see them? Do you, and not just welcome them, but like you have a new person coming to your church and they ask for childcare. Do you point down the hall it's that way, or do you say, "Hey, let me walk you down there"? You see somebody new on your row. Do you take the time to introduce yourself and say hello, or do we just get focused on other things? Um, I always tell St. Matthew's one of the challenges that we've had this past year is our growth as we've been growing, and I'm thankful for that. And my prayer is that our growth continues in 26. But with growth comes, challenges. People don't know where stuff is. People don't always know our traditions. People don't know how we do things. And so we as Christians, I remind my staff all the time, we have to be hospitable. We have to always be teaching and explaining and sometimes over communicating because people don't know. And so we got to make a barrier, we got to make the barrier of entry low for people. One of the little things I do is a little bitty thing, but whenever I do the creed, I will have my hymnal up there with me and I will turn to the creed. I've done the Apostles' Creed probably every Sunday in my life. I know the Apostles' Creed is tattooed on my brain. I've said it so many times. But I still want to model for individuals. Hey, look, the preacher's turning to the creed. You can too. Um, they had made the barrier of entry far too high for the people of that day, and that's why Jesus drove them out because they were keeping people from being able to come worship. And so I think as we go about our business of church, we have to ask ourselves, are we doing the same thing? Maybe not the same thing with the selling of animals and stuff like that, but are we making it harder for people to come worship, for people to experience God, and for people to know the goodness of God? So, two good questions for us to wrestle with today is are we being peaceful, and are we making it easier for people to come and to worship? So, hey, thanks for being with us today. We will pick up tomorrow with chapter 20. Have a great day.